Hello everyone, welcome back to Ben and Danielle Reviews. I'm Ben. I know it's been a while since I've filmed one of these top 50 episodes. I've kind of been working quite a bit. One of my days off, I do board game events as well as my main job. I also am in charge of board game events there, so I have been playing games, I've been teaching games, but I just haven't had much time to do actual filming. But I am going to try to do one segment a week, as well as continue to do the Favorite Game Friday episodes that I've been doing for the Dice Tower. Without further ado, I'm going to kick off number 30 now. Number 30 is a game system. It was based on the Star Wars Epic Duels game, and that is Unmatched. This one is Buffy. I just grabbed this one because it's an empty box that I had. My personal favorite of the series is the Cobble and Fog one, which has Sherlock Holmes and Watson, Dracula and the sisters. It's got the Invisible Man, and there's one more. I think that's it. I might have forgotten one, I'm not sure. But yeah, so Unmatched is a game in which you are battling head-to-head with an opponent. You can play 3 and 4 players, but in teams of 2 or free-for-all with 3. But I usually like the back-and-forth 2-player version of this, in which you are moving around a map. It's like a skirmish game. You have your own personal deck of cards, and you are playing cards to attack the other player and reduce their health to 0. Some cards have like special abilities that give you different things. Each one is kind of thematic to its own character. So each character will do certain things that are very characteristic of what that character would do. There's ones from like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's Marvel ones. There's ones from book characters like Dracula, Sherlock Holmes, and Invisible Man. And there's also ones like Jurassic Park coming out, and then there's more Marvel coming out. There's Houdini versus the Genie, which I gotta check out at some point, and that is Unmatched. Number 29 is a game I don't have in front of me right now, but I will put a picture up right next to me on the screen here. It's because I have it at my work. It's a game that I got imported from Taiwan, from Play With Us Design. They've been really generous with sending me games. I've reached out to them a couple times. They've sent me games. We've carried their games in the store. We've had them imported from overseas. And this one is a 2-player abstract strategy game called Soloween. And Soloween, I know I've talked about it a bit on the channel. Soloween is a abstract strategy game for 2-player only, in which you are trying to make 4 in a row 3 times. So there you have these like round wooden discs that you're placing on this 4x4 grid. It's a nice cloth board that you can fold up really nicely. It's really cool actually. But the object of the game is to get 4 in a row. And you're placing your discs on the board on either the orange side or the green side and trying to get 4 in a row of the same color, either horizontally, vertically, diagonally. The trick is, though, every time you place one of the discs with these ghosts on them, the ones that are orthogonally adjacent, so horizontally and vertically, they all flip to their opposite side. So I like the strategy in which you are trying to plan 2 moves ahead or so, in which, yeah, so you have to get 4 in a row before your opponent, and you also have to think, like, what can my opponent do, and like think of like where everything would flip and to what side, and how to make 4 in a row. Because you don't want to set your opponent up to get 4 in a row, but you also want to anticipate what your opponent's doing, kind of like with other abstract strategy games as well. And that is Soloween. Not the easiest to get your hands on right now. You have to get it imported from overseas, but the company is really nice, and they've been really generous with their demos and with their giving us a good deal on some games. So I've really appreciated them a lot. So I wanted to give them a shout out, and that this is my favorite game that they've done. Number 28 is a John D. Clair game. John D. Clair has a lot of entry-level, introductory sort of games that are fun to play. This one is no exception. This one is Space Base. I think this is my favorite one from John DeClaire. Not a huge space fan, but I enjoy the dice rolling aspect, engine building. I compare it a lot to Machi Koro, and ever since I started playing this game, I really had no interest in playing Machi Koro anymore, because it's still got that same dice rolling and aspect of you are using your dice to do different actions based on what roll, and your opponent also gets their own abilities based on what you roll, and you're playing to, I think it's 40 points. The first person to 40 points triggers the end of the game, and so on. But I really like the powers in this game. There's a few cards in there, like the charge counter ones, that are hard to explain for newer players. So sometimes I don't include those in the actual game, but actually, just straight out of the box, this is a great experience that I've had a lot of success with teaching to people. Space Base. Set these down here. Number 27 is another game that I've taught to a lot of people and had some good success with it. It is called The Quacks of Quedlinburg. The Quacks of Quedlinburg is a Wolfgang Warsch game in which you are pushing your luck and pulling plastic chips out of the bag. I do have the upgraded pieces in this game, from the Board Game Geek store, the Geek Up Bits. I do think they are essential for the game, just because the cardboard ones that come with the game aren't ones that you are going to want to have in your box, just because they won't last as long and they don't feel as good being pulled out of the box. So you want to have those big chunky plastic ones from the Board Game Geek store. But this game is a really great push your luck game in which you are trying to build up potions. You're drawing ingredients from a bag to make a potion, and you don't want your pot to explode by having too many white things. Too many white pieces. I don't know what they're called. But you can get different color pieces. The farther you go on the track every round, you get more currency to buy more pieces that you want to add to your bag. Really fun game. It's one that you can play with many different age groups. It plays with younger kids pretty well, and it's a game that adults also enjoy. And so it does have some randomness of push your luck, so it's not something that requires a lot of strategy or heavy thinking on people's parts. So that's one that people usually like to try to play. That's why I enjoy bringing it out. Number 26 is one of my favorite cooperative games. I don't think it's my highest ranked cooperative game, but it's high up there for sure. And it's one of my favorite dexterity games for sure. And that is Manara. So Manara is a stacking game which you have your wooden pillars that you are stacking on your board, and you are just trying to work together to get it up as high as you can. I've always had a ton of success teaching this because it's a game that can also be played with younger folks and older folk. Adults seem to really enjoy it, and kids seem to really enjoy it. Not the easiest game to find nowadays for some reason. Most places I've seen don't carry this game, but it's one that definitely, if I had a store I come across doesn't have it in stock, I definitely recommend them ordering whenever I'm in there. I know it's one that I teach a lot at work, and a lot of people have a lot of fun with it. Since it's cooperative, there are people that get really serious into it and want to tell you where to place things and all that, but it's still a really fun game, and it's really exciting, and people get really invested in it in a way that they really want to try super hard to win, and that's Manara. Number 25 is another cooperative game. It's a game I actually played a couple times last night. I taught it to new people last night, and they really enjoyed it. And they enjoyed it more than Pandemic, and that is Horrified. Horrified is a game based on the Universal monsters: Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, The Mummy, Wolfman, Invisible Man, Creature from the Black Lagoon. All great films that I really enjoy, and I was really excited to try this when I saw this for the first time at Target like 3 years ago. It was a while at this point, but I was actually really pleasantly surprised. So this is a game, pandemic style, where you're working together. It's also sort of pick up and deliver in the sense where you're picking up different items and you're using those items in different ways to defeat monsters. It can also get pretty challenging if you have multiple monsters. We had it on the easiest level, which is 2 monsters, and we got stomped on the first game, and then we tried it again, and we just barely won. I think we had 1 health point left. So this is a really good one. There's also the American monsters, which is like the Jersey Devil and Bigfoot and those kind of characters. I have not tried that, but I do enjoy this theme a lot more, so this is the one that I will stick to. That is Horrified, a great cooperative game. Just because it's not too spooky, it's got like campy spooky, just like the movies were, so it keeps that. So it's not gory by any means, so it's not one that I tell kids, hey, you can't play this. It's one that we have played with kids and they've enjoyed it, and adults definitely do, because it's a theme that they know and love. Next is number 24. 24 is a game that has another really popular theme, even more popular, and that's Disney Villainous. So Disney Villainous is a sort of, I guess it's a card game and worker placement as well. If you're a worker and you're placing it on different spots and you're doing different actions and you are trying to be the first one to accomplish your goal. This one has kind of like an alternate take on the Disney universe, where you play as the villains instead of the heroes, and you're trying to accomplish the villain's goal, as in the movies, instead of at playing as the heroes like most games do. This one's a really fun one. There's so many different villains you can play as. I have only played it a couple times, so it's one that I haven't played all the villains in this game. There's definitely probably 20 or so villains I haven't played yet. I definitely want to play more of it. It's a game that people definitely enjoy just because of the theme alone. They're attracted to because of the theme. It sells pretty well, and it's one that it's easy enough to teach that I can just play it pretty quickly with people. It does take a little longer with the higher player count, so I do think it plays best at like 3 or 4. You could even do 2. I've done 2, and that's worked pretty well as well. That is Disney Villainous. So number 23 is another game that I don't have with me. I definitely own, but that is Crokinole. It is like a dexterity game in which you are flicking discs on a giant wooden board, and you are trying to get within the center ring, within the center hole if you can, but you're also trying to knock your opponent's buttons off the board. So that is really fun. It's a game that I introduced to the shop about 3 months ago or so. I picked up a board, was like, this looks fun, I've always wanted to try it. I brought it to work, and just everyone just absolutely fell in love with this game, to the point where people are playing it at my work like daily. We got to the point where we're running tournaments every week. We get 10 to 12 people most weeks to play. We have a league with rankings, and people are playing this game in the shop every day. And it's really crazy to see. Like, it's so easy to teach. We have 4-year-olds and 6-year-olds that play it. We have people in their 50s and 60s that don't normally play games coming to play Crokinole, and that is pretty exciting to see people just get invested in something where they would normally be like, I don't like games, I don't want to play games, and then you sit them down to play Crokinole, and they're just coming back every week to play, and some of them even play in the tournament, and do pretty decently. Number 22, we got 2 more games left. Number 22 is another abstract strategy game, one of my favorite abstracts as well. Not my highest ranked one, but it's pretty up there, and that is Santorini. Santorini is a game in which you are building up the city of Santorini, building up towers, and trying to get one of your workers at the top level. It's a game in which a very simple design. You draw one. You move your worker 1 space, and you build a block 1 space up in one of the row in one adjacent spot to it. And you can also, there's domes you can place, so there's 3 levels. You want to get your worker to the highest level, you can only move up 1 level each turn, but you can also, if you're near that 3rd space, you can block it off so your opponent can get to it. Can get really crunchy. It's definitely another one of those games where you have to think 3 turns ahead, but I really enjoy it. There's also player powers you can play with, some simple ones, some more complex ones, if you are accustomed to the game and want even more of a challenge or more of a shake-up to the game. And that is Santorini. And this production is a much better production than the one that they had when it first released, so I highly recommend this version by Roxley over the original version. And then the final game on this list is a little European card game that I heard was going out of a print soon. I don't know if that's true. Like that company is owned by Asmodee, and Asmodee is like trying to shut that company down or something, and the guy's trying to buy it. I'm not sure if that was true or not, but that one is called The Bloody Inn. The Bloody Inn is a French game in which you play as I think it's French or Belgian game. I don't know, but it takes place in 1830s France in a small town in which you own an inn. You and your family, you all are family members that running an inn together. You'll have your own rooms that you're going to be renting out to people, and you are going to be getting money from people staying in your rooms, people that will travel to the town and stay for the night. You can collect money, a single franc, from people spending the night in your room, or you can, while they're sleeping, kill them off and take all their money. The trick with that is, though, you need to get people to help you bury the bodies, so you gotta recruit more people, more guests to join your criminal empire, and you have to have people from the town help you in your attempts to kill them, and you also have to have them help you bury the bodies, because if you have dead bodies laying around, when the cops come around, that's not a good thing. So you got to bury the bodies before the cops come around. It's a pretty interesting game. It sounds very gory, but it's pretty silly, dark humor, more so. So it's not something that's super like inappropriate for small kids. You still are killing people and you're still taking their money, and you're recruiting people to your criminal empire, but it's not very gory. The art is pretty cartoonish in a way. The drawings are pretty abstract of the people, so the art style is a little bit more cartoonish, so it's not something that's super gory. It's pretty tongue-in-cheek, though, the way that it takes the horror in this game. Definitely recommend it if you can still get your hands on a copy. I know for a long time it was out of print and not available, especially in the US, but I believe now Asmodee has it available. Not sure for how much longer it will be, but if you can find a copy, definitely worth picking up. If you can, there's also a little expansion to it that's just some more cards for the game, and that is The Bloody Inn. So that is my numbers 30 through 21. Thank you everyone for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.